Hey y'all, how are you? How's it going? I decided to jump on live. I was supposed to be freestyling tonight, but anyway, I was supposed to be freestyling tonight, but I went to my grandmother's house and unfortunately, spent not unfortunately because I love my grandmother. I spent so much time with her. It ended up being too late for me to go to the area I wanted to go to because it's a very upscale area. So for me, it doesn't make sense to go to that area late on a Sunday night when really nobody's there, anybody of importance. So I felt like if I went tonight, only person I would run into is like, I don't know, some family people having late dinner. So I felt like, let me just take this as a sign that tonight is not the night to level up. Tonight is not the night to freestyle. And I spent time with my grandmother, which is great. And I think part of leveling up is also just knowing where your time should be spent and knowing how to maximize your time. Like, why would I go all the way to this area knowing that there really would be nobody to mingle with? So I decided that it was best for me to come back home and start tomorrow somewhere else, in a different area, because tomorrow that area won't be popping either. That area won't be good to meet an SD until about Wednesday or Thursday when people are coming out. I might try Tuesday afternoon as well, but tomorrow is a dub. Monday it'll be cold as well. I probably will go somewhere else. I'm thinking about hitting some breakfast spots in the financial district right before the markets open. That's definitely the place to meet potentials, POTs. Um, as you can see, I'm doing the pearl thing, the creamy white pearls, the pearl nail polish too, the glittery pink and pearl nail polish. Yeah, man, I just thought it was important for me to just jump on because I'm kind of new to YouTube in terms of doing my own content, but it was important for me because I just wanted to talk about a couple things, and I think one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is um, don't let anyone stop you from leveling up. Okay. And when I say don't let anyone stop you from leveling up, I mean specifically your family. Tonight was a night where I had every intention of going out and freestyling, but because I love my grandmother and she's 87, I spent time with her. Now, me and her had a real conversation tonight because I wanted her to understand how I think. I want her to understand that I'm not like the other cousins, you know, because my grandmother, she raised me to be a hardworking woman, kind of like a Barb the Builder. But she's actually, my grandmother was married, and when my grandfather passed away, he was married, but she had 9 kids for him, and she struggled, and he was on drugs, and it was just a different time back then. And she did the best she could, but I think one of the problems was is that she didn't have like any of these teachings that Michaela and Shira and different girls on YouTube give. My grandmother didn't even have that growing up. Like I sat there and I spoke to my grandmother and I asked her an honest question because when I say I'm beautiful, she thinks I'm bragging on myself. And I don't really even think that. It took me a long time for me to get to the place where I could even feel beautiful and confident enough to even say that I was beautiful. Um, and sometimes I feel it and sometimes I don't. And not every day do I think I'm the best. I don't think I'm the best, but it's something that I had to teach myself the appreciation for myself as a woman because my grandmother never had that kind of appreciation for her own self. Like even when I spoke to her today, I was like, Grandma, like, what is your opinions of yourself? Do you think that you're beautiful? And she was like, well, I don't think I'm too pretty, but I think I had a nice body and things like that. And that hurts my feelings that my grandma didn't think she's pretty because I just saw a picture of her when she was 50 something. Back when I was a little kid and she was like a fresh grandma. And honestly, she was really pretty in the face. It's just that because she was involved in struggle love, and a man that was a dusty taking advantage of her, and her believing so deeply in Christ and not wanting to be with all these different men and respecting her body, which she should have. But to be honest with you, my grandfather didn't treat her right. And I think some of the reasons why I make the choices that I make is because of the things that she went through and the things that I watched my mother go through with men that didn't treat them right. But one thing I learned from my grandmother, because she to this day tells me not to have children, no kids. And we agreed on that today. No kids until a man can give you a house, marry you, and take care of you. My grandmother agrees with that. She doesn't like the fact that I get dressed up sexy and talk about how beautiful I am and things like that. She doesn't like that because her confidence in herself is low. But I'm trying to let her know that, like, you know, and I asked her, I was like, hey, grandma, you should be proud of me, the fact that I don't have any children and I'm in my early 30s and I've made the right choices. And, you know, like, if it weren't for Steve passing away, I would have been married with kids to a lawyer. And to be honest with you, my grandmother, you know what she says to me? She said, I'm so proud of you that I almost don't know what to do. I'm a little scared. Like, she feels like things are going to go so wrong. And to be honest with you, things went wrong for the past year. I've been entertaining a person who's really not able to take care of me, even though he's a wonderful man. And the real reality is I have to grow up. I have to recognize the fact that me spending time with a person who loves me is not what's going to make sure that my medications are bought, that my health is in order, that my kids are taken care of, that my mortgage is paid. Liking and loving a person don't do any of that. I need a person who is established already. You could have a career, but if you're in the bottom levels of your career and you don't have any savings and you don't have anything, then how could you even have and think about having a family? So it's not to say that there aren't wonderful men out here who want to have a family with me. There are, but unfortunately, they're not equipped. And so my grandmother would rather see me by myself alone than to see me as a person who's just having babies with, and like all my cousins have 3 and 4 kids. Like, I have a cousin that she's older, in her late 40s probably now, and Uncle Kirby passed, and like she literally has to go into a shelter with 2 of her little kids. And it's like, I can't curse because I'm really trying my best to go into 2020 not cursing, but that is a shame. It's a shame. And so leveling up is about knowing your worth as a woman. I know I'm better than being a baby mother. I know I'm better than being a baby mother. I know I'm better than being an incubator and being the woman who carries your children so that you could have your little baby. Like, I know I'm better than that, so I won't allow myself to succumb to that. And I don't care what has to happen, but I won't have any dusty man's baby. And I think a lot of it is just self-control. Women, we get wrapped up so quickly. Like, men like to freak us with the talk and the promises and stuff like that, with no real intentions of ever doing anything for us. So for me, I just feel like we need to get the bag now. We're in a place, especially as Black women, especially as a beautiful Black women who have finally gotten our weight in order. You know, like, don't let Lizzo, my elbows could use a little, don't let Lizzo get you fucked up. We finally gotten our weight together. We finally got our look down. I mean, Miss America, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, Miss this and that and this and that for 2019. It's almost as if this is the first and last time they're going to give us this type of power as Black women. We need to take advantage. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that everyone believes and is jumping on the Black women fad, even though I knew and know I'm beautiful from when I was a kid. I mean, a lot of my self-esteem comes from other people's parents telling me how beautiful I was as a young girl. Like, my friend's father, who was Chinese, used to tell me all the time, like, you were very beautiful for a young Black woman. He was the first person to give me a job. At 12 years old, they gave me a little job where I was making $14 an hour. That's better than some people were making this year, sadly. And so it's like, we can't rely always on our family to point us in the right direction, because not because it's their fault, but because they don't have the tools. Like, my grandmother, she didn't know what to do. She came up here and all she wanted was to live better than she did in the South, and she accomplished that. And it was not her responsibility to raise me, but she did a good job. And my mother, she is still to this day a pygmisha and a loser. She's still bending over backwards. Like, I went up there, a bunch of toys that she got for probably some man's kid. I'm her only child, but she bought a bunch of toys for some man's kid when she don't even have $1. to her name. I asked her if she could give me some money today. She didn't have shit to give me. She's a pick-me-sha. My grandmother's a Barb the Builder, but my mother is a pick-me-sha. So like, how do I prevail? How do I come out on top when I'm being led by Barb the Builder and I got to pick-me-sha for a mom? I literally, like, if it weren't for certain women in my life, there would be no connection to femininity. That's why I'm so elated by women like Shira and so inspired by women like Michaela, because if it weren't for, and I have a woman in my life right now, she's a very, very good friend of mine, Miss Murphy, and I won't even give out all her information, but she's just a little bit older than me. She looks my age though. She's just a little bit older than me. And she literally talks to me like a big sis. And like, she tells me things that my grandmother could have never told me, because my grandma was too busy having to slave to take care of the 9 kids that her dusty husband left her with while he was off getting high and probably sleeping around. Like, who's to say that my mothers and them don't have half sisters and brothers? They don't know about their half sisters and brothers because there was 9 of them, so they didn't even have, my grandma didn't even have time. But I know she mentioned to me over the summer that there's a potential of there being other kids. Back in the day, there was no way to figure that out. I mean, he could have had other kids in Harlem while my grandma was in the Bronx. So I come from a long line of pick-me-shas and dusties, unfortunately. Like, even to this day, my father, he works a basic job, but I would consider him a dusty. Like, I know I called him over the summer to ask him if he could help me with something. He was driving to Florida with his oldest daughter. Who drives to Florida? A person who can't afford a ticket. And you want to know what, because we're up here in the Northeast. So to drive to the Southeast, across all these states from New York down there, think about it. A dusty. He's a dusty. He couldn't even give me any money to help me with my bills, even though I told him I was getting evicted, which was a lie. But at the same time, I told him that to see if I could get some money. This is my father, my biological father, my real father, like the only father I've ever known. Like, it's not like another man raised me. This man didn't even really raise me, but he was down the block. He knows I'm his daughter. He knows me well. He has my phone number. He has a cute little nickname for me, but he doesn't have shit for me. That is a dusty. My own father's a dusty. My own mother's a pick-me-sha. And it's so unfortunate to say that, because I can look at my other friends, like this one other woman in my life. Her mother is older than my mother, and she looks gorgeous. Sometimes she shuts me down, and she's in her 60s. So it can't be a generational thing as much as it's a stubborn woman who doesn't want to change. My mother needs to hang it up already. You're done. Don't let anyone stop. And this is the whole point of this live. Don't let anyone stop you from your level up because they don't know how to do it themselves. Now, when I sat there and talked to my grandmother today, because she's a smart woman, she actually started laughing. And at a certain point, I said to her, like, for example, when I go out, I don't even want to give my real name. My grandmother gave me a name. She said, Faith. I said, oh, wow, I like that. My grandmother told me that when I go out, my name is Faith. Because you know what? She's smart enough to know that she didn't have an amazing life building everything for this and that man. And now she's by herself, lonely. You know, she's got her kids around, a couple of them. But it's like, at the end of the day, she should have a young man in his late 60s. My grandma's 87. She should have a young man in his late 60s, early 70s, taking care of her. Someone that might have admired her as a youngin, taking care of her and making sure she's all right. She doesn't have that. All she has is her granddaughter, her daughters, who are her daughter, who's completely aloof. And then her other kids are living in other places. And it's like, damn, if I'm not there for my grandmother and I have to be there for her. And it's like, I'm looking at my grandma and knowing she deserved better. She deserved to be taken care of. She deserved to have everything that any other woman had, pushing out 9 kids, and still had a great body after all of that. We talked about the fact that, I don't know if I told you guys, but I told you guys a couple days ago that I had started working at a real estate place. And literally that same day that I had started working, I went to the holiday party just like this. And apparently the next day I wasn't the right fit. And what that and I laughed because the Israeli lady who runs the place, she's unfeminine. And the minute I came to that party, the holiday party, and I'm not even dressed particularly sexy. I'm dressed cute in a holiday manner, and I wear a little shawl with this. And let me tell you something. The minute I came in there, she made the decision that I was usurping her power because of my beauty. All the landlords and all of the real estate people wanted to speak to me. It's a good thing this is a tight little niche because I was able to flip that and take her listings and bring that to another broker who I'll be working with. So now I don't feel any way about it. It more so it just validated what I already thought, which is that I'm too feminine to be out here competing with Barb the Builder type women. And Barb the Builder is very common amongst non-Black women who think that they are independent. Okay, because they think that independent means building your own house and building your own irrigation system, and they don't know what the real definition of independence means. And so they take it to the nth degree, and now what they have is a life where maybe they've even morphed into being a lesbian because they haven't gotten any attention from a man. And you can do whatever you want. If you're a lesbian, that's fine by me. But if you didn't start off one and you became one because you were hardened by life, that's literally a characteristic of Barb the Builder. Because Barbara the Builder is going to end up becoming Barb the Builder. And next thing you know, she's going to be Bob. Because every time she has to do something else that takes her out of her femininity and into her masculinity, she loses her femininity. And she starts associating with masculinity to the point where maybe she thinks she's a man. Next thing you know, she's attracted to women. And independence is wonderful. I've been independent my whole life. Well, that's not true. I've been independent up until I got into that relationship with my fiance that passed away. He passed away in 2015. Literally, he did everything. He loved me and did everything. And he was younger than me too, but he came from a Italian family, and they valued family and marriage, and they valued unions, and they valued growth. And he valued having a woman at home because he knew that was a full-time job, to the point where his plan was to come out of law school and for me to step down from my position and open up my own business and work at home while I raised the kids. A man who actually had foresight. I have not met a man with foresight since he passed away. And then the only other man that I know with foresight, he's so down on himself and so poor that there's nothing that could be done with him. All we could do is have a friendship. And so it's like, this is what happens when you get too stuck in the independent. That's why when he passed, I literally quit my job. I had just gotten promoted and I quit that same day he passed. Because I'm not coming into your office now that I've lost came into the office and continued that job if I still had my fiance. Now that I've lost the man who really wanted to build with me and make a true and real woman out of me, I have to spend, and because I was at the time 29 years old, 28 going on 29, 2 seconds away from being 30, I have to spend every moment now, because my clock is ticking, I have to spend every moment now on my level up and finding a man who can afford me right now. Like, you can't have your residency. You can't be in law school at this point. There's no more building. Even at that point, I didn't want to build with my fiance. I was literally seconds away from moving out and getting my own condo. I was going to buy my own condo 2 weeks before he died. And he cried and told me not to get my own condo because he loved me so much and he would get one for me. And then he died literally 2 weeks later. And that's when I made the decision that nobody is good enough for me until I find someone who can do better than he did. So I really feel like women have to level up. They have to get some standards. They have to get some benchmarks. Don't let anyone stop you from leveling up. I was stopped tonight because of the types of women that have raised me. They're jealous of the fact that I'm young with no children, even my grandmother. But not as much. My grandmother, she's more so worried about me because she's beyond jealousy in her life. She's 87. But my mother's very jealous. She walked in while me and my grandmother were talking. She didn't even know I was there. But then when she saw me, her face. She's very jealous. She's jealous of the fact that I don't have one kid. She's jealous of the fact that my body is perfect. She's jealous of the fact that um, I can do it as I please and go a whole year without working and still be supported by someone and still have grandma's support. And so I feel like she's just upset because I'm the better version of her. And that is a fact. But rather than trying to do what I do and going and getting healthy and leveling up as well, and my mother's still very pretty in the face. If she lost about 60 pounds, she would be in a place where she could go out and pull something as well. You know, she's 55, she would be in a place where she could go and pull a 70-year-old man with good money because she's beautiful in the face and she has beautiful natural hair that is just because we have Native American in us, so we have gorgeous hair. Like even if I took this weave off, I have curly hair. It's like my grandma's hair is straight. And to be honest with you, she could literally go out and pull anything she wants if she could get her weight in control and her mentality right. But she literally is like a pygmisha. She really is. She literally is the person who is dying so much for attention that she will go and buy gifts for a man who's probably old and washed up. Like, who could he be? Buying gifts for this man's child. Like, I guess my mother is giving, so maybe it makes her feel good to give gifts to young kids. But what she should be doing with that money is getting a gym membership or getting a NutriBullet so she could make some shakes. Or she has things she should be doing for herself, and that is the characteristic of pygmisha. They take everything, and I was like this too for a minute. They take everything that is their resource and help someone else with it. Yes, I managed an artist. Yes, I have a label. But guess what? Everything I did for the artist and for the label is visible online. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. Wouldn't have done it without a contract, wouldn't have done it without visibility, and wouldn't have done it without my criteria being met. And once it started to become too challenging and too much of a pick-me-shit role, and I felt like I was becoming someone's mother and mammy, I gave it up, took my lashings, and let the people walk because they don't deserve my energy. I am wasting my last bit of energy with a young artist, someone who doesn't even understand what it means to be a man because he didn't have anyone teach him. And I'm over here trying to teach him. Meanwhile, I'm trying to find a man. No, you could go. And it's no offense to anybody, but this person had so much time. This person's only 22 now or 21 now. They had so much time and still have so much time. Meanwhile, I am a Black woman of a particular age, and I am on a fast track to being rich, a fast track to having all my needs met. And it's not anyone else's responsibility to keep me on track but mine. I keep losing track for men that are not worthy. And I keep, like, it hurts me, this person. I really love this person, but he's not ready. But when he's ready, I'll be there for him if I'm not already married. But to be honest with you, there's literally, aside from that, I don't really have anything for any of the. I was literally taking the train from my grandmother's house back to Brooklyn. I was literally taking the train from my grandmother's house back home, and so many dusties staring me down. And it's like, oh man, I'm overdressed for this train. Thank God I had a big long coat that covered everything because I felt when I had some hater blocking shades on. I just put them away. But to be honest with you, I can barely take the train nowadays because the types of people on the train, it's like the dirtiest of the dirtiest people unless you're going to work. And then even then, it's just too much. So the next man I get with, the first test he's going to get is, can you buy me a vehicle? Because once you can buy me a vehicle, I can take that vehicle and leverage that vehicle, sell some real estate, and really be able to take my clients around. Because right now it's hard to do that's why I haven't really pressed these real estate places. Hard to do it without a vehicle. So to be honest with you, first test is, can he buy me a vehicle? Take me to the dealership and get something signed immediately. And then after that, we'll see what happens. I will have a car by the end of next month. because I'm on a fast track and I'm just going to shut my mouth and do everything that these wonderful ladies have laid out for us, because leveling up is my only destination. Like, I look at women like Lala and I am so proud of her, where she's come from. In terms of just doing it and leveling up all the time and just doing it, like, get it, get it. You got everything. Keep getting more. Don't stop. Get everything you deserve. Let all these producers put you in a movie. Let all these men put you in a sex scene. Get every dollar. Still keep your fabulous man and family. But let that nigga know still that he could be replaced, because he can, by a younger basketball player who's on. Lala's bad. She could have a man who is fresh in the league if she wanted, since Carmelo's pretty much doesn't really have much value on the court these days. She could pretty much have anyone she wants. And she can mess with that basketball player until Cayenne, her son, is a grown man who could take care of her. Toss him to the side, and guess what? Carmelo will still be there. Do you know why? Because he won't have a choice. He'll be old and washed up. And I think she knows that. That's why she's out here living her best life. I want to live my best life too, don't you? I want all my Black women to live their best life too. I just watched a girlfriend of mine get married to some fabulous, I guess he's a banker or technology guy, but he's got money. And she is older than me. Her kid just went to college. She's in her 40s. She looks great. She looks really great. Ooh, does she look amazing? Does this woman look amazing for her age? Just got married this year. And I was literally sitting there in the rooftop bar with her when she was getting her first taste of the sugar daddy life. She didn't know what to think, and she was so disheartened, but eventually it came. And I think what she did was, at that point, things weren't working out that good for her. So she ended up putting away seeking arrangement and all that online shit, and she just started going out and on her own and being more open. So when these ladies tell us to go out on our own and go to the bar alone and go to the high-end restaurants alone, they say it because they mean it, and it's true. You have to go out alone. You know why you have to go out alone? Because you don't need another beautiful face right next to you that he can compare you to, number one. Number two, a crowd is going to keep him from approaching you because he'll be intimidated. Number three, there's nothing that can be done in a group as it pertains to yourself. You have to get more comfortable with yourself. I'm very comfortable with myself. I would have been out tonight if it weren't for staying at grandma's. I had a whole plan, but it took me too long to do my makeup by the time I got to grandma's. And then I look around and I remember everyone saying, like, in the groups and in the level up groups and everything in the chats, going out too late, they're going to think that, especially at a hotel bar, they're going to think you're a hooker. And I don't have time to be shooting down hookers. I literally plan on freestyling from like 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. every night this week. And not once it's past 8 p.m., I think I'm about done. Because I do know I did have a potential last year. It's just he's cheap. He literally is a millionaire, but he's cheap. He's an old miser. And you know how I know he's an old miser? When he took me out, he wanted to split food. And so I just figured, okay, he was married, which means he's probably been taken for a lot. Another thing is he doesn't have much value for me because there's another cute Black girl down the hallway who pretty much, she's like a project girl who she won the lottery to be in his building in the meatpacking district. And she pretty much just knocks on his door and throws him a little something, throws him a little punani or whatever. And he doesn't have to do much. So he literally is in a unique position as an old Jewish man because he doesn't really have to leave his building to get sex, but the girl is so ugly that he doesn't want me to meet her or anyone to know who she is, really. Like, she came to the door, he didn't even really want to open it wide enough for me to see her face, and he told me that she's just but she's a nice, sweet girl, and he tries to help her out. So she plays damsel in distress, and all she probably needs is $100, $150. Now you see me, I need $1,500. I need $5,000. I need $15,000. I need $20,000. I need $100,000 investment for my business. How can I entice an old man that's getting slobbed and messed around with by his neighbor for damn near free? I had to let that one go, because what I realized was by the third time meeting him and him splitting a plate with me, that girl upstairs had ruined it for me because she didn't demand much. So anytime he felt like he wasn't comfortable with a woman who really required a significant amount of investment, like me, someone that, he blows my, every now and then he hits my phone up, so he's still a potential. But what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna hold on to him and keep contact with him until I'm leveled up from someone else, and then I'm just gonna pop in to a spot where I know he'll be, and he can see me leveled up with someone else, and then all that's gonna make him want to do is create that board of directors that he boasted about. Because I think he kind of wants to call my bluff and wants to know if I'm a phony. So you won't have to know if I'm a phony, honey, when you see me walking in here with this other baller into one of your favorite spots. Hey, how you doing? Hi and bye. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to be leveled up to the point where old potentials who never, like, if you didn't strike when the call option was available, and I'm speaking that finance language, if you didn't strike when the call was available, then you missed the opportunity, you missed the pricing. So whereas I just needed a little bit of money to get my business off the ground, now in order for you to even spend any time with me, I need a lot more. You know why? Because you didn't take advantage when the pricing was low. And I've been elevated by this gentleman over here, so now you'll have to pay more. So I'm keeping him in a place where I want him, and every now and then he sends me text messages, and I text him, and it's cute little things. Like he sent me a link to his podcast, and he does some stuff with Jimmy Cozier. Okay, great, but guess what? None of that impresses me. You know what impresses me? Money in my bank account. I hope he watches this too, so he could recognize how I think. He'll never get anything from me. He's not had any sex with me. He's not seen one nipple. The most I've done is given him a back massage. And when he tried to move my hands down, guess where I went? Out the door. Peace, I've got to leave. We've already spent the whole day together, and that's more time than I anticipated. And I'm just too pretty and too amazing and too leveled up and too bossed up to give this old man anything without getting a snip. Because I always think about it like this. If someone ran into me with this old man in the street, the only way I could not be embarrassed is if he put so much money in my bank account that this other person's jealous. Like, okay, you might see me with this old 70-year-old man, but guess what? He just put $150,000 in my bank account. So to be honest with you, until we're at that level it just doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. So all my viewers, tell me what city you're from. I have someone watching me right now, and every time I do a live, I'm pretty sure that this person... Anyway, I don't care. All I know is that in order for us to be bossed up and leveled up, we can't allow friends and family to get in our way, especially if they've not attained anything. The only time I'm going to listen to my friend and family is when they can point me in a direction of success. Like I have one aunt, she's the only aunt who's ever been married. She's been married 3 times. The first marriage was good. That was my Uncle Clement. But according to my mother, this aunt of mine said that the sex wasn't good. Now, this is a dummy. This is a pygmisha. You're such a dummy that you lose your alimony. Now, they got a divorce. She got to stay in the brownstone. She got alimony, good amount of alimony, because my uncle-in-law was, and still is, he's a little sickly now, but they're older. But literally, so she gets remarried to a man from Belize. You know, he's got hazel eyes. He's cute. Probably the best thing she's ever had, a good-looking man. He was good-looking when he used to come for the holiday, but he barely spoke any English. It seemed like he didn't like to talk to us. And it really just looked like he was in it for his papers. And as soon as he got his papers, he bounced. Then she married some other man from the Caribbean somewhere who took some money from her and some jewelry. And I learned a valuable lesson as a kid. I realized that I'm never going to marry anyone that needs papers. You need papers, we can't get married. If you need papers, then you need to pay what America's worth. I had someone ask me last year, a Mexican guy that was doing some work on the building I live in for my landlord, asked me if I would get married and how much it would cost. And he offered me like $5,000. And I said, that's the price from like before I was born, that like the Africans were paying everybody back then, the Nigerians, to get married and have their baby. Literally, it costs at least $30,000 now for me to have for me to be married on paper. And even then, I honestly, I'm not going to get married to anyone until they've got what I need. If I don't see millions in your bank account, me and you aren't getting married. When I say millions, I mean 10 million more, because 2 million is one house short away from being broke where I live. So I literally don't even have the time anymore. If I'm going to have to get sexy like this every day and stay away from my workout clothes, because I love my workout clothes. I don't wear leggings and I don't wear hood girl clothes, but I love my cute little workout clothes. I'm going to be leveling up so hard, even more than I am now. If I have to do more than I do on a normal basis to attract what I'm looking for, you better believe that I'm going to be selective. So, selective is the name of the game, ladies. And don't let your friends and family stop you from leveling up. I'm going out tomorrow night. I'm actually going to, you know what I'm going to do tonight in anticipation for this week? I'm going to line up everywhere I'm going this week. And tomorrow, if I don't go out because it's Monday night, I might just watch some football with my friend because I owe him some time. He's a good person, so he can come over and we can watch some football. But no sex. Literally, I'm going to line up everything I'm doing this week. I'm determined to have an SD before Christmas. And I'm determined to be getting some money in my hands before the New Year's. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out because I've got some things to do for my level up. I can't stand here all day, and I will certainly be back. Trust me. I was thinking about doing like a 12-day at Christmas type thing, but I think I'll do that next year when I'm just more leveled up and I'm in a better situation. Right now, I'm living out of my music studio, and unfortunately, there's really not an opportunity for me to do the kinds of videos I want to do because I'm just not set up right. Like I got my computer and stuff, and I bet I could set it up more official, but right now I'm just concentrating on getting this bag from these potentials. Once I get the bag from these potentials, I can spruce up the studio, spruce up my recording situation, get a better lens, and give you guys some more sexy. But for right now, you're gonna have to deal with this basic camera in the iMac. And as usual, have a blessed evening, and I love all of you guys. I want to see all my ladies level up. I want to see all my Black women get what they deserve. I want to see us be the beauty queens that they have elected us to be this year, going forward and in life. I want to see us dressed sexy in beautiful clothing, no more Fashion Nova. Honestly, I only got a couple things from Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova was something that my girlfriend from Cali told me about back in 2010. No, maybe not 2000. No, that's too far back. 2013 is when I found out about Fashion Nova. The end of 2013, early 2014, and this was like my girlfriend from Cali, and it's easier to wear skimpy clothes in a warm climate. But when you live in the Northeast and people dress a certain way, Fashion Nova looks tacky. It looks like you shopped on Fordham Road. It looks like you shopped on Old Fulton Street before they redid it. It looks like you shop on Jamaica Avenue. You will never get into the places I get into wearing that Fashion Nova garbage, unless you're Cardi B, and even then, she doesn't go to the places I go to. She literally, for a woman that's supposed to be a boss and leveled up, she doesn't go to the right places and surround herself around the right people. She's going to end up having a pick-Misha life, even with all that money, because she just lets her man run wild. And it's okay to let your man run wild. if he's doing something for you. I mean, if he's doing more than you're doing for yourself. Because Offset was a come up when Cardi wasn't shit. But now that she's on, she needs to go and find herself a banker, a billionaire, someone who can do something for her, not someone who makes her look like a clown. And I wish that she would have been taught better by her parents, but they were probably too busy working because they are not from here. So unfortunately, when you're not from here, the way my father was, and you have to slave, you don't really have time to teach your kids the things that will make them successful because you're too busy trying to feed them. It's not her fault. Just like it's not my fault that I was raised by a pygmisha. It's not her fault. But once you have money, you got to surround yourself with better circles. You know what else? I know they were trying to say that the other day that Ree may not be dating that billionaire. And she might be dating A$AP Rocky. And I'm a huge fan of A$AP. That's why my studio is purple. I love A$AP. But he's not marriage material, not at this age. He was cool. He was cool when we were 22 years old, 23 years old, 24 years old. I'm older than him. So I'm like 2 years older than him. So pretty much he was cool when he was 24 and I was 26. I like bad bitches. That's a problem. He was cool back then, and he's still cool now when it comes to music. I love his music. If you're a music person and you're a music head like me and a producer, then you love his music. But as a man, I'm hoping he's grown up a little bit. And I'm hoping that he recognizes that he can't pull the young stunt anymore. And I'm hoping that Rihanna knows that she's wasting her time with him. And I don't think she wants anything more than maybe his seed, because he's a very attractive black man. And maybe they will have a beautiful baby. But take the baby and run, because he can't do a fucking thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. But he can't do anything for you. So take the baby and run and go get your billionaire back. Go get another one. Because how are we supposed to level up and show women that we can show our young black sisters that we can have more if we keep trying to enable men who don't even support us? Now, I don't know about Rihanna, because she's a certain type of woman that A$AP might like, but I would never help him with anything. As cute as he is and as sexy as I think he is, and he is very attractive and a great personality in Harlem, and like, I'm from New York too, trust me. I love A$AP musically. I love the pretty boy swag. That's kind of how I see my artist. He's got the same swag as A$AP. But marry A$AP? Never. He doesn't have enough of anything. We used to think that his $3 million deal meant something until we realized that 1.7 of it went to A$AP and 1.3 went to A$AP Mob. And then we recognized that they don't have $1. They're still touring all over Europe. And it's so sad. I mean, I can't even... What I'm saying is that you cannot level up with a man who has less than you. How could you level up with a person who has less? Think about it. Think about it. How can you go up when something's going down? It's like, leveling up with a guy who doesn't... Okay, leveling up with a man who doesn't have money is like this. Getting on the escalator that's coming down and walking up the stairs. Walking up the escalator while it's coming down. That's the example of leveling up with a man who is economically beneath you. You're taking the down escalator and you're walking up it. You're walking up the down escalator. The escalator's going down and you're walking up the down escalator. You might get to the top if you're fast enough. If you just get what you came for and leave. But if you linger, you'll be right at the bottom with him. Sorry. All facts. I wouldn't lie to you guys. I really wouldn't. So if you guys want to be taking the down escalator for the rest of your lives, do that. I don't take escalators. I take elevators. Okay, I want to be elevated, not escalated. I don't want to be escalated through your problems. I want to be elevated and lifted up. I want to get in on the ground floor and you take me up to 50. I don't want to come down from the third floor on an escalator and see you trying to run up it. Like, what do I look like? I don't want to be on the bottom floor, see you coming down with your $1 million, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, anything less than 10. See you coming down with your $1 million, and then what? And then what? Have to walk up on your escalator knowing that I'm not going anywhere but to the mezzanine of the mall. And the broke ass mall at that. So literally, I am stepping into the purpose I've always had. And no one has ever thought that I was broke. No one has ever, everyone's seen me bougie my whole life. I tried to step down to help a couple guys out. I tried to step down to build a brand with a bunch of dusties. And that is over. People want to be a part of my brand. They have to work as hard as I do. Otherwise, it's my brand and you can kick rocks. I'm not giving out any handouts. I'm not doing anything for anybody. I'm not building anything for anybody but myself. And if I had a daughter, I'd tell her the same thing. Anything you build for yourself is for you, and anything he builds for you is for you, and you don't build nothing for him. You know what builds for him? This belly when he puts that baby in you. It is the most important job in the world, and you have it. And you don't have to do anything else for him but have that baby for him. After he gave you the house, after he gave you the car, after he gave you the ring, after he took you on some vacations. Because you're not going to get my daughter pregnant 5 seconds after you marry her either. You're going to respect her and treat her like a woman. Trust me. My daughter will learn things that I never learned from my mother. Ever. So trust me, when I say don't let anyone stop you from leveling up, I mean your own mother sometime. I mean your own grandmother sometime. I mean your own aunt sometime. Don't let anyone stop you from leveling up. They couldn't fathom a life where they didn't have to work every day or where they didn't have to uh, buy gifts for a Dusty for holidays. That's what they're used to. My mother's 55, my grandmother's 87. They ain't changing today. That's what they're used to. So let them have pygmy life in them. Anyway, have a good night, guys. I love you. All right. Peace.